What's going on, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to go over Nndm's quarterly results, as well as this Murchinson takeover or attempt of a takeover going on. So Nndm just recently reported earnings, and we're going to go over a couple things here. So their revenues grew year over year like it typically does. However, we did see a very slight decline quarter over quarter, and we'll go more into that in a second. But basically year over year, their revenue grew 33%. Their gross margin is 44%, which is up from 32% in quarter 2 of 2022, a year ago basically. Their adjusted gross margin grew year over year as well. Remember, this company is still not profitable, so keep in mind that it is still high risk. And I just recently got a message from somebody saying that they're down massively from this because of listening to me and other expert YouTubers. Remember, in the end, buying this stock is completely your decision. This is a high risk, small cap, unprofitable stock, and the risk lies on you and you alone. But let's take a look at what Yoav Stern said, as well as seeing what kind of cash they have on their balance sheet still, and a couple other small details. Plus this attempted Murchinson takeover going on. Yoav Stern says Nndm's momentum continues, and the second quarter and first half of 2023 are no exception. The financial results prove that the people, initiatives, business plan, merger and acquisition strategy we have put in place are delivering exceptional revenue and gross margin improvements. Moreover, the 47% organic revenue growth since Q3 of 2022 across different product lines is a testament of our unique and synergistic business model. And he says when many, if not all, other businesses in our space have top lines that are stagnating or declining, meaning revenue, our revenues are growing 33% quarter over quarter and 38% half over half for 2023 when looking a year out. Keep in mind that's compared to 2022, so that sounds a little misleading there. However, year over year their revenue is increasing. When many of our peers have had to lower prices to compete and or pay more for an inefficiently managed supply chain, our gross profits are increasing. And he goes on to say, we strongly believe that this is only the beginning. We have the right people, technologies, and products for this business to continue to deliver strong results. During the most recent 3 to 4 quarters, however, I'm not focusing on quarterly results as good as they are, but rather looking at annual trends, aiming for improvements in margins and potentially, in the not too far future, a positive EBITDA and bottom line profitability. I am confident in this trajectory based on our strong research and development achievements, especially in materials developments, pipeline, and customer relationships, as well as buildup of sales and marketing infrastructure. And then he talks about profitability here. We prudently continue to invest in research and development and go-to market. These are larger investments than what a company at our present size can typically afford, should it wish to be profitable in near-term quarters. However, we are growing steadily, and that's what we aim to do. Negative cash flows are temporary investments which are meticulously calculated and aim to match the significant organic growth we expect and the upcoming consolidation waves that we foresee in our industry. We are prioritizing long-term value creation with a horizon of a few quarters, rather than near-term profitability at the expense of the company's future potential. If we cut expenses and maximize profit now, an alternative that's definitely doable, we would be sacrificing a substantially increased valuation for the company down the road. Hence, investors with a different investment event horizon may join us by stretching their timeline slightly, and their expected returns will emerge. And then he mentions the cash on Nano's balance sheet. We are not where we are by accident. In particular, the cash on our balance sheet was and is pre-planned. We are here because we have always respected our fiduciary responsibility to our shareholders, which has led us to spend your capital more prudently than others. Nano has the cash firepower to continue to build our business, and we see significant opportunities ahead, such as the acquisition we announced last week of UK-based additive flows technology and intellectual property, which covers solutions for 3D design simulation and optimization. And I did do a previous video on that. And here's a mention of their actual cash on their balance sheet. They had 6 integrated acquisitions and $1.1 billion of cash equivalents, deposits, and investments. So they are still sitting with a very nice balance sheet, quite a bit of cash, plenty of money to do some more acquisitions, plenty of money to soak up these next few quarterly losses. And I wanted to show you guys that they did see a sequential decline in revenue. You had to dig a little deeper for that. They don't really mention it in the beginning, but total revenues for the second quarter of 2023 were 14.7 million compared to 14.9 million in the first quarter of 2023. So we did see year over year revenue growth, but not sequentially or quarter over quarter revenue growth, which is a bit disappointing to me. Now, something that's good is the cost of revenues has declined quarter over quarter. However, it has increased slightly since 2022. And research and development expenses for the second quarter here were actually the lowest they've been. 2023 they were 19 million compared to this quarter being 16.3 million and 18.3 million in the second quarter of 2022. So that's really nice to see their R&D has come down quite considerably. Sales and marketing as well is down to 8.2 million from 10.1 million in the second quarter of 2022, but it did increase from the first quarter of 2023, which was 7.4 million. General and administrative expenses did grow a bit, now 12.3 million compared to 11 million in the first quarter of 2023 and 7.2 million in the second quarter of 2022. And they did report a $9.1 million loss in this quarter. You can see they have plenty of cash to burn. They have plenty of cash to be unprofitable, to make it through. You'll see that they have $954 million in cash and cash equivalents with short and long-term unrestricted bank deposits. Now, we have Murchinson trying to take over the company. They're trying to remove Nano's board and have their own board of directors. They are trying to build their position in Nano Dimension. And it's funny because they did this kind of rogue shareholder vote where they used all of the shares they own to skew the numbers of the vote in favor of Murchinson. And I went more into this in a previous video, but this is a press release on Nano Dimension's site basically telling you to vote. So you will likely have gotten an email already where you can go on and vote. Make sure you don't vote for Murchinson. I think that is the wrong decision. And their goal is basically to liquidate the company, give shareholders like $4 in cash, which I personally think is not the right decision. And these nominees for Murchinson have actually been paid out by Murchinson to participate in this scheme, and their nominees have no additive skills or 3D printing skills or digital cloud manufacturing industry expertise. And they made it clear they have no plans or ideas in regards to Nano's business. They basically want to liquidate the company, like I said. But let me know, guys, what you think about Murchinson. To me, they are some bad actors. They are acting like they are for the shareholders and they want to restore some value to you. However, the only way they're going to do that is by liquidating Nano Dimension, taking it over from the inside, and attempting to pay you out a little bit while they take the majority. But let me know if you disagree and you are for Murchinson taking over. Now I want to show you Nano Dimension on the chart and just how sideways it's been. We have essentially been sideways since May of 2022, so for over a year this stock has been just kind of fluctuating up and down with no real direction. I would argue that this is an accumulation phase. Wall Street or a higher power is trying to keep this sideways so they can accumulate. I could of course be wrong on that. We could suddenly tank and break and create new lows, but I personally don't see that happening based on the timeline of the Fed rate hikes. We are towards the end of the Fed rate hikes. Inflation is very near its 2% target, and soon we will be seeing Fed rate cuts, which should help small caps, considering that throughout all this time these rate hikes have been hurting small caps. But it's quite interesting that throughout a lot of this time, Nano Dimension has been essentially trading sideways, while many small caps have been creating new lows after new lows after new lows. Now it definitely has a lot of recovering to do if it wants to go to previous highs. This was during an insane time. Money printing was going insane. Everyone was at home because of lockdowns. And I personally don't see Nano Dimension going anywhere near the teens anytime soon. That said, I believe it's worth a small percentage of my portfolio. Remember, it is high risk. Don't go all in on something like this. And remember, I'm not your financial advisor. Any investment you partake in is your own actions. That said, I do have faith in Nano Dimension for the long term. I think they are going to tighten up their losses, eventually reach profitability, and they have plenty of money on their balance sheet to get to that point. I think that is one reason why this stock has been so relatively stable over this year and a half or so, while other small caps that have very small cash reserves have been just completely selling off, if not having to go through reverse split after reverse split after reverse split. But let me know what you guys think about Nano Dimension. How do you feel about their earnings results, and how do you feel about Murchinson and this attempted takeover they're doing? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later.